So who do I think is getting an Oscar nomination next year for Best Director? Hey guys, it's Brian. Welcome to the Awards Contender. I'm almost done with my extremely early Oscar prediction series. We only have picture and director left to talk about before the big fall festival, September, October. We'll know a little bit more about how the next Oscar season is going to shake out. For now, in July, who do I think is getting into Best Director? I feel pretty good about 2 or 3, and then we have a couple slots that are totally up for grabs. Let's begin with a nomination I do think is going to happen, Ryan Coogler for Sinners. One of the most celebrated films so far this year, probably the most celebrated film, is Sinners, which came out in April. It's definitely getting into Best Picture. Outside of the biggest shocker of the year, Sinners is getting into picture with 10 nominees there. Can Sinners get into director? I think it can. I think it's getting into original screenplay, at least one acting category. And then I just think the film is too strong for the Academy to snub it in Best Director for Coogler. I mean, you could say, well, he's getting into original screenplay. They can give him a nomination, maybe a prize there. They don't have to nominate him for director. But I think about Get Out, I think about how that film got into Best Director for Jordan Peele alongside original screenplay, which he won for. The directing of Sinners is outstanding. The work he did on that film should get a nomination at the Oscars. It doesn't make sense for me that only gets into screenplay, it gets into picture, but not director. No, that is absolutely going to go down as one of the best directed films of 2025. Ryan Coogler should get into director. I think he's going to. Now moving on to some movies that premiered at the Cannes Film Festival. Sentimental Value, Joachim Trier. Joachim Trier, who directed Sentimental Value and The Worst Person in the World, he got into screenplay for The Worst Person in the World, and I think he's coming for his first director nomination at the Oscars for Sentimental Value. That film got the most raves of anything that played there. Everybody really loved Sentimental Value. I think it's going to be a huge awards contender. In picture, actress, supporting actor, supporting actress, original screenplay. I think this time Trier gets into director. He's been doing such great work for many years. Some of his films aren't as well known as others, but so many people saw and loved The Worst Person in the World, and it sounds like Sentimental Value might be even better. So I think that film, it could be an Oscar winner. It's definitely getting into some categories next season. Every year at the Oscars, we get one international director in that category. I think this year, if it's not 2, if it's only the 1, I think Joachim Trier is getting in for Sentimental Value. Now, also from Cannes, you have Jafar Panahi for It Was Just an Accident, which won the Palme d'Or. And I've seen his name on some lists, in the top 5. I feel like that could happen too. Even if Trier also gets in, they could also throw in another international pick for the film that won the Palme d'Or at Cannes. So I'm not going to predict him right now. I'll see how It Was Just an Accident does in the fall. If that film comes on really strong at the Golden Globes, let's say, he gets in it at Critics' Choice or something, and he's showing up places, maybe he can get in at the Oscars and Best Director. You also have Kleber Mendonça Filho for The Secret Agent, which won Best Actor at Cannes. And I've seen his name on some lists as well. Not all 3 of these international directors are going to get in at the Oscars. I think one of them does for sure, maybe 2. So the question is, which film is going to be the stronger awards contender next season? Will it be It Was Just an Accident, or will it be The Secret Agents? I don't think it's both. I think one of those 2 movies comes on stronger than the other. I feel like The Secret Agent might be the one. Everything I've read about those 2 movies, The Secret Agent might be this year's I'm Still Here. Maybe gets into Best Actor, maybe screenplay, maybe picture or something. It does well at the Oscars, maybe not director. but I will definitely keep my eye on him. There's also Lynn Ramsey for Die My Love. She is such an extraordinary filmmaker, so singular, has never received an Oscar nomination anywhere in directing or screenwriting, nothing. And based on what I've read about Die My Love, it's supposed to be striking visually, like it's a really dynamic film. Not everybody loved it. I think because the film itself got kind of mixed reviews out of Cannes, I think like the best chance that movie has for an Oscar nomination is Jennifer Lawrence in Best Actress. I don't think Lynn Ramsey gets into Best Director, but like We Need to Talk About Kevin is such a phenomenal film, and she got in at BAFTA for that in Best Director. I'm hoping Lynn Ramsey's moment at the Oscars in Best Director is coming. Like, it might not be for Die My Love, but hopefully soon. Alright, so now we talk about films nobody really has seen yet. This is kind of a crapshoot. We're just going off of, like, their past work. If they have gotten Oscar nominations in the past, we have to begin with Paul Thomas Anderson, One Battle After Another. Paul Thomas Anderson has a boatload of Oscar nominations going all the way back to Boogie Nights in the 90s. He's never won. Like, he has more than 10 nominations. He still has never won. Could this be the movie? I'm not feeling it right now. I don't know about you. Like, he can get into the Oscars again for One Battle After Another. Like, he can get into Best Director again. His last two movies, he got Oscar nominations for Best Director, Phantom Thread and Licorice Pizza. Why not One Battle After Another? It's had some test screenings. Apparently, it's great. It's almost 3 hours long. It's his most expensive film. I've heard it's like kind of a departure for him. There's a lot of action in it. It's very funny. And so as long as it's a hit at the box office, as long as people show up for One Battle After Another, and it's really great, it's one of the top 10 films of 2025, I feel like Paul Thomas Anderson gets in again at the Oscars in screenplay, in picture, in director. Like, he could get more nominations. Can he finally win a frickin' award? Like, he never wins anything. You know, I feel like the film opening in September, like, that gives me a little pause. It's at the end of September. That's good. It's not like, you know, Labor Day weekend or something. I would feel better if One Battle After Another was coming out Thanksgiving weekend or Christmas or something. Coming out at the end of September, I'm nervous. Like, what if that film, for whatever reason, does not hit with audiences? Like, come mid-October, it's already fading, and the reviews are strong, but, like, the audience doesn't show up for that film the way everyone is hoping they will. Like, that's where I'm nervous. If the film underperforms at the box office, can Paul Thomas Anderson get into Best Director? Like, maybe, but I don't know. I think the smart decision, the smart prediction right now in July is to say Paul Thomas Anderson is getting into director. It would just seem kind of silly to say, not for this one. It's not going to happen for One Battle After Another. I mean, we've all seen the trailer. It looks pretty astounding. He's got this amazing cast, this huge budget. I don't know. Like, I think that's going to happen, even if it's supposed to be on the more humorous side of things. It's not like his most dramatic film of all time. I think he gets in for that. I am predicting it right now. Yorgos Lanthimos Bugonia. This is a huge question mark. Finally, we have seen footage from the movie. They released the trailer a few days ago. It looks interesting. I was thinking it would have more of a Poor Things vibe. I thought it was more of a science fiction film. Based on the trailer, it looks a little bit more like Kinds of Kindness than it does Poor Things. I don't know about you. I like the trailer. It looks like a really interesting film. I'm very excited to see it. But because it looks a little bit more like Kinds of Kindness in its tone and stuff, I don't know. I'm not going to predict that Yorgos Lanthimos gets into director for Bugonia. Now, the movie could come out or premiere at the fall festivals, and it's like his best movie to date. We're all like, holy shit, this is a masterpiece. He's 100% getting into Best Director. We will know more in September for sure. Right now, I think that film's best chance at some nominations is maybe screenplay, maybe an acting category. I don't see him getting into director, but once we see the movie, we will know more. Luca Guadagnino after The Hunt. This has been like my biggest swing in this extremely early Oscar prediction series, like predicting a lot for After the Hunt. In screenplay, in acting, in picture, for sure. I'm going to talk about this in Best Picture, and in Best Director. I think Luca Guadagnino is coming for his first Best Director Oscar nomination for After the Hunt. Everything I've read about this movie, like I've dug deep, guys, like on Reddits and stuff, like trying to learn more about this film. It has had some footage screened, and from what I've read, like After the Hunt is his most Oscar-friendly movie to date. That's what I'm reading. This is not Queer. This is not Challengers or Bones and All. After the Hunt, I think, is going to be a more audience-accessible film than anything he's made to date. And with Julia Roberts in the lead, you have Andrew Garfield and Io Adebari and this amazing cast. If that film is frickin' great, you know, it is one of his finest films, maybe his best one he's ever directed, and it does well at the box office. I think it's coming out in October. It's premiering at Venice, so we're just a few weeks away from knowing how good or great or not so great After the Hunt is. I'm like really hoping that's one of the best films of the year. I love that cast. I love the director. I really want After the Hunt to be an amazing movie, so I'm very much hoping Luca Guadagnino is finally going to receive his first Best Director Oscar nomination. Josh Safdie, Marty Supreme. Here's another question mark. Marty Supreme, how well is that going to do next award season? Is it getting into picture and director and lead actor, supporting actress maybe, screenplay? Like it gets 5, 6, 7 nominations? Or is it just an acting play for Timothée Chalamet? Maybe like that's the only nomination for that movie. The film itself, everyone's kind of mixed on it, but Chalamet is great. He gets his 3rd Oscar nomination. The movie itself, maybe it gets into picture. Maybe it's in like the bottom 2 or 3. It makes it in there because it comes out Christmas Day. There won't be enough time for backlash. Enough people like it, so it gets in the picture. But it's not a Best Director contender, really. Josh Safdie doesn't make it in there. I could see that happening. I have him right now around like 6th, 7th place. Like, I thought about including him in my final predictions here. Like, I had him on my 5 for a few hours, and I was like, I don't know. Is he going to get into Best Director for Marty Supreme? It is a period film. We will have to wait and see. I don't have him in my 5 right now. Then you have Noah Baumbach, Jay Kelly. Noah Baumbach has gotten a few Oscar nominations. He's been nominated for Screenplay 3 times. He also was nominated for producing Marriage Story. He has not received a Best Director Oscar nomination. Like, sometimes I think he got into Best Director for Marriage Story, but no, that did not happen. He just got in for Screenplay. So it's like, okay, is there a film that might finally get him into Best Director? Jay Kelly could be that movie. George Clooney, Adam Sandler, Laura Dern. It's got an amazing cast coming out later this year. I mean, the kinds of stories Noah Baumbach tells, they're usually not very flashy, like visually, they're very dialogue heavy, and so it makes sense to me, like why he hasn't gotten into Best Director. But Alexander Payne also makes very character-based, kind of dialogue heavy films, and he's been nominated for Best Director 3 times. So it could happen for Baumbach if everybody loves Jay Kelly. It's on everybody's top 10 list. Everybody really adores it. They want to give it everything possible at the Oscars. Maybe this could be Baumbach's moment to not just get into screenplay at the Oscars, but also director. That could happen. I've seen his name on a bunch of lists. I would have him in the second 5, like maybe around slot 8 or 9 right now. I would feel kind of weird predicting him to get into director. I just, in a very crowded field, does Noah Baumbach get into director? I'm not feeling that right now. but we'll definitely keep his name on the list. Now let's talk about some really talented female directors. The last 2 years, we've had a female director get in. I think that's a good thing. I think every year there should be a woman nominated in director. I was so happy that Coralie Farja got in for The Substance a few months ago. That was freaking amazing. Who could be the woman or women who get into Best Director this year? Mona Fastvold for Anne Lee, I have my eye on. This is the woman who co-wrote The Brutalist with her partner Brady Corbet. They also co-wrote the screenplay to Anne Lee, but he is not directing this time, she is. She is the director of this upcoming period film starring Amanda Seyfried. Like, I didn't see her name on any lists, I just saw her name mentioned at some points. And I'm like, if Anne Lee is as good as The Brutalist, like let's say it's at that caliber, why can't Mona Fastvold get into Best Director? That could totally happen. The film sounds very ambitious. I think it's a drama and a musical, and Amanda Seyfried, like she could get into Best Actress for all we know. She could be the frontrunner to win right now. Like she could be this year's Adrian Brody for The Brutalist. Like that could totally happen in the weeks to come. So maybe Mona Fastvold could get into Best Director. That would be awesome. You have Nia DaCosta for Hedda, which I'm very excited to see. We just got our first still image released of that. Also a period film like Anne Lee, but obviously very different subject matter. Tessa Thompson is the star of that. I adore her with my full heart. I think Nia DaCosta is a very exciting filmmaker. I can't wait to see what she does with Hedda. I hope I get to see that at the Toronto Film Festival in a few weeks. I hope Hedda is an Oscar contender, not just for Best Actress, but maybe even for Best Director. That would be something. Chloe Zhao Hamnet. Chloe Zhao, could she be back in Best Director at the Oscars? She, of course, won Best Director in 2021 for Nomadland. She did such a good job on that film. And then Hamnet, on paper, this looks like it's going to be a huge awards contender. It's Focus Features coming out in November. It's got Jessie Buckley and Paul Mescal. It's a period drama. It's based on a best-selling book. It's about like William Shakespeare and his wife and about grief. And with Chloe Zhao behind the camera directing, I'm just like, yeah. If I had to put money on it right now, like who is a female director for 2025 who can get in at the Oscars in this category, I think it's Chloe Zhao, right? I mean, she's won before, so some Academy members might say, we've already taken care of her, we don't need to nominate her again. But you know what? When it comes to male directors who win Oscars get nominated again all the time. Why not Chloe Zhao again in Best Director for Hamnet? We all need to see the film, of course. Like, maybe the movie won't live up to expectations. Maybe it will just be an acting play for Jessie Buckley or something. I don't know. Right now, I feel like Hamnet gets into picture, acting, screenplay. Why can't it get into Best Director for Chloe Zhao? Yeah, I think that's probably going to happen. Now, one of the most exciting things about the fall movie season is that Kathryn Bigelow has a new movie. Finally! After 8 years? She made a film in 2017, Detroit. Before that, Zero Dark 30. Before that, The Hurt Locker, which made her the first woman to ever win the Oscar for Best Director. That was such an important, amazing moment in early 2010 at the Academy Awards. She is finally back with a new movie starring Idris Elba called A House of Dynamite. I think it's premiering on Netflix in October, so we'll get a chance to see that soon. I'm very excited for a new Kathryn Bigelow movie. You know, she doesn't work very much now. I thought for a moment there, maybe she was semi-retired, maybe she wouldn't direct again, I wasn't sure. Like, Detroit did not do very well at the box office, and she's been very quiet as of late, so I'm very thrilled she has something new coming. I am excited to see A House of Dynamite. It's a political thriller. It might not be an awards film, but what if Kathryn Bigelow was back in Best Director at the Oscars? That would make me so very happy. And you know what would make me even happier? Is if we had another Kathryn Bigelow James Cameron showdown. Could it happen again? James Cameron has his third Avatar film coming out in December. Could Cameron get back into director? Probably not, since Avatar: The Way of Water did not get into Best Director for Cameron. It got into picture. Like, it did okay at the Oscars, not great. It would be surprising to me if Cameron missed in director for the second Avatar, but he got into director for the third. Like, knowing there's at least a couple more to come, right? If this was the finale, this was like his Return of the King, this is the last one he's making, then things could be different. Then James Cameron could have a shot of getting into Best Director for what's going to be one of the biggest films of the year. I do think Avatar Fire and Ash, the third Avatar film, is probably getting into picture. I wouldn't think it's getting into director right now. I don't think we're going to have another Cameron Bigalow showdown. Two final names to talk about in this video, two more pretty big movies, I'd say. The first is Guillermo del Toro for Frankenstein. Can del Toro get into Best Director again after The Shape of Water from a few years ago, which of course he won for? Can del Toro get into director for his upcoming Frankenstein movie? Maybe. You know, I wouldn't predict it right now. I think the genre elements of Frankenstein, it might hurt that film in director. It could get into picture. If it's frickin' amazing, which I assume it's going to be. I know del Toro has wanted to make a Frankenstein film for many years, for decades. He's finally done it. He's got an extraordinary cast. I think it's premiering on Netflix in November. That's really sad to me. If I can't see Frankenstein by Guillermo del Toro in the theater, like, I have to see that movie in a theater, right? I hope I have that opportunity at some point. I think because it's a Frankenstein movie, it doesn't get into Best Director for del Toro, even though that would be really awesome. I think of the big ticket movies, like the giant money makers coming out later this year, the person who has the best chance of getting into Best Director, it's John M. Chu for Wicked for Good. Is John M. Chu getting into Best Director for the second Wicked movie at the Oscars? It's possible. I also had his name in my 5 for moments. I thought, you know, he didn't get into Best Director for the first Wicked movie, even though there was some outrage over that. He did a very good job. The Academy might want to rectify that and give John M. Chu a Best Director Oscar nomination for Wicked for Good, but kind of for both films. To say, well done, John, for this amazing saga of these two films that everybody loves, that made, you know, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars at the box office. I could see that happening. It all depends on if Wicked for Good is as good or better than the first one. It's going to make a lot of money, like a lot at the box office. It's going to make a ton of moolah. There is no confusion over that. The question is, will Wicked for Good be as great of a film as Wicked from a year ago? And if it's not quite as good, if it's just like slightly less in any way, shape, or form, then John M. Chu does not stand a chance of getting into Best Director at the Oscars, I think. But if he really sticks the landing on that second installment, everybody just loves what he does with the second film, I could see the Academy giving him a nomination, not just for that film, but for both films. Like, that could happen. Be prepared for that. He is my 6th place slot right now. I almost included him in my predictions. It was between John M. Chu and Paul Thomas Anderson. And I thought, Brian, right now in July, the smarter prediction right now has to be Paul Thomas Anderson, I think, over John M. Chu. But Chu might get in, and if that happens, what an amazing moment it will be. So, to wrap up here, as always, let me end this video with my extremely early Oscar predictions for Best Director, alphabetical by last name. They are Paul Thomas Anderson, One Battle After Another, Ryan Coogler, Sinners, Luca Guadagnino, After the Hunt, Joachim Trier, Sentimental Value, and Chloe Zhao, Hamnet. Thanks so much for watching and subscribing, and let me know in the comments below, who are you currently predicting to get into Best Director at the Oscars next year, and I'll see you next time at the Awards Contender.